Um, yes, team, welcome back to the podcast. And today I'm joined by the absolute legend that is Rebecca. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. And you?
I'm good. And obviously, we're just coming off the back of an incredible few months. Now, do you want to just give people a little bit of an introduction in terms of like who you are, where you're from, what you do, the cliff notes?
What I do. So I'm Rebecca. I'm in Guernsey. Also go by Becca in the group. I am a compliance officer, so I spend 8 hours a day on my arse.
Mm.
And that's kind of me. 32, just got married. That's it, really. The highs and lows of me. I guess we're going to get into more detail about other things in a bit. But
Mhm.
yeah, so that's the bare basics of me.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's so powerful to people to be able to resonate with yourself. Um, you tried so many different things over the years. It's not like you're super active all the time, like you work an office job. And I just want you to paint the picture for me and for everybody else kind of listening or watching this back. I mean, I just had the notes here. Our first call was on the 30th of July, 2023. That's when
Yeah, I remember it very clearly.
me too. Me too.
I was terrified.
I
I
know.
was like, I was so intimidated. And then all of the emails that are like, please don't cancel on us. You know, if you need to reschedule, that's fine, but don't cancel. And I was like, I really want to cancel, though. I don't think you understand. Like, I am terrified to talk about this with someone. And yeah, it was major. It got me hooked. And safe to say, like I've said now, it's like a really healthy cult. I'm like definitely a team member and definitely obsessed with it now. But yeah, that starting point is bloody scary.
What is it particularly that you were worried about, either reaching out or getting on the first call?
One, talking to someone that's so much fitter than you
Mm.
about how you're struggling with your own fitness is super difficult, right? It took me a long time to even bring it up with my doctor, let alone, no offense, some stranger on the internet who's like, oh, I can help you. And I'm like, yeah, well, if my doctor can't, how are you going to? That was a big point for me. Plus, I think having to admit how bad things have gotten is really difficult. But I came to you after having like seen my doctor, had blood tests done, been put on a starvation diet, and tried Ozempic, had literally tried every quick measure. I was that person that went to the doctor and was like, "Oh, tell me there's something wrong with my thyroid. We can just get this done." And they're like, "No, there's nothing wrong with you." I was like, "Shit, it's just me. Okay, I need to get this done." But getting on that call with you to say, like, I need help, I need support, is terrifying. And it's terrifying because it's such a personal thing, isn't it? It's your weight, it's your body that you're then suddenly putting out there for the world. That's the scary part. And I think knowing what I know now, I wish I'd done it sooner, but I knew I couldn't. I knew I needed to get to that space to go, okay, I need help and to actually accept it.
Absolutely. And how long had this been going on for? Like, how long have you been struggling with your weight previously before we spoke?
Oh, geez. Um, so I used to be very fit prior to finding my lovely now husband. And then I fell into the relationship comfort. So about 3 years, I completely fell out of the gym. Diet went out the window. I ate whatever I wanted. Don't get me wrong, that made me very happy, but it didn't make me happy in the long run. You know, it's great to have someone with you that you're like, oh, should we get a takeaway tonight? Yeah, okay, let's cuddle and watch a movie and everything's going to be fine. And then it's not fine because you suddenly gained so much weight. So I was steadily gaining for 3 years. And then I'd say I hit a plateau probably for about 18 months before I reached out to you. And I've said it a couple of times, and I don't know if anybody actually believes it, but I couldn't shift a single pound, not one. It wouldn't come off. My body weight was so static. And I was so frustrated because I was like, I'm going to the gym. I thought I was eating right. I was not. Side note, you're definitely not eating right if you think you're eating right and you're not tracking your food because you'll just sneak in the odd 10 biscuits and think it won't matter. And it hugely matters. Um, but yeah, so I was stuck and I was crying. I was so upset. I would literally end up on the floor of the gym, like in the changing room, obviously, crying at the end of the session. So I was like, I've just done this and I know it's going to make no difference. So yeah, 18 months, I'd say I was probably at rock bottom. And then, like I said, I tried things like Ozempic for a few months and it did work, but it makes you feel horrific. And I was like, at least this was like, I know no one ever wants to be someone's last resort, but I was like, this is my last resort. If this doesn't work, then I'm just going to get fat. I'm just going to embrace it. And yeah, I came to you guys and started losing weight, and I was like, oh, yeah, there really isn't a quick fix, is there? You just have to put the work in.
So glad you say that, because it doesn't matter. Like, I'm a very honest and transparent person, and I believe I said this on a call. If you're looking for a quick fix, this isn't the place.
Yeah.
But if you want to do it right, you want to do it once, and you never have to do this again, where you're in the right place right now.
Yeah.
You've crushed it so far, and I can't wait to see the rest of your journey and also run through the reverse and really, really teach you how to do this on your own. Now, at that time, those times where you were trying everything, Ozempic, all the starvation diet, seeing your doctor, what was kind of going through your head?
That it can't have been me that was the problem.
Mm.
And I think that's the funniest part, because I'm like, looking back, I'm like, you were the only problem. You were the one putting the food in your mouth. You were the one not moving. You were the one that, okay, I was going to the gym 3 times a week, but I was only doing cardio. And I was like, sitting on a bike for an hour 3 times a week isn't going to get you where you want to be. And I knew that, but I was like, there has to be something. There has to be something health-wise. There has to be something, like I said, with my thyroid, or, at one stage, my doctor said to me, maybe you're just naturally bigger. And I was like, yeah, okay, fair point. But I've never been this big. So I'm not naturally this big. And she was like, well, at some stage we'll figure out why people are naturally skinny or naturally larger, but we're not at that stage. And I was like, but I know I'm not naturally this large. So there has to be something. And I was like, no, there was nothing wrong. I was just not moving enough and I was eating too much. And it's literally that simple. And that's what's sad, I think, is that you try to find any reason for weight gain or for how you look or how you feel other than yourself, because it's so much easier to blame something else. But yeah, sometimes you want to look in the mirror and be like, no, it's just me.
So hard. It's very difficult to take responsibility.
Yeah. Yeah, it's painful too as well.
Yeah, 100%. And I think also in that, you almost have to be able to have that self-awareness, you almost have to break up with a version of yourself to be able to step forwards. And I think it's the hardest kind of transition to be able to make. And then also it kind of, you can feel a bit lost in that when you take ownership and you kind of realize that there is no one coming to save you. There's nothing coming to save you. It's up to you. It can be quite lost and daunting because there's so much information out there. It's hard to know what's truth and what's absolute bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay. And just paint the picture for me now. What's life like?
Well, I am happier in myself. Recently got married, had photos taken on my wedding day that I don't hate of myself. I had to have my wedding dress taken in several times, which I never thought would happen. So cute little side story about the wedding dress that I didn't realise until I went for my final fitting. And my dressmaker said to me, it's so lovely to see you in your dress. And I was like, oh, don't you say that to everybody? She was like, no, do you not remember when I first came to see you, you wouldn't put that dress on? And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. She was like, you hated yourself so much you would not get in that dress. She had to talk me into it so she could measure me for it to let it out. And I was like, oh God, yeah, I completely forgot about that. It was in my house for a month. I never even took it out of the bag because I was like, I know I'm too big for it. I know it's not going to fit. So yeah, to have that taken in several times was going to be interesting. And then even on the wedding day, it was still a bit too big for me. So I've lost about 13 kg, I think, since I've been with you guys. I am lifting weights. My confidence in the gym has gone from literally nothing to walking in like I'm Billy Big Balls. Like, I know what I'm doing.
You own that. You own anything.
Yeah, literally, I love it. I'm like, this is my gym. But I'm also really conscious about making sure other people feel that way when they're there. I said it to you actually really early on that I never want to be a fitness influencer, but I would love to be able to help other people get on the path. So for me, I like to now, knowing how I was when I first went in, I like to keep an eye out for those newbies at the gym, and just when they're like sort of hesitating, or you see them come in and then they leave very quickly. Yeah, I tend to pop out and I'm like, was there anything that you needed? Or, was there a machine you were looking to use? And it's just really paying it forward now. But I still need a lot of help myself. I still reach out to Elle and yourself very regularly saying like, either I hate this workout that's in my program, can we change it? I don't like this, I don't like that. Why don't you like it? What can we do? And sometimes with a tough love, right? It's like, actually, you're going to keep hip thrusting twice a week. And I'm like, but I don't want to. It's like, but the gains want you to. And it's like, oh, okay, all right, fine.
The booty gains want you to do it.
Yeah, literally. And I'm like, oh, fine. But yeah, I'm a different person. I'm back to being who I used to be, which I really like. Um, I think I've told you this before, but and probably some of the girls about how people thought I was single. Not that long ago, they thought I'd broken up with Adam because I was posting on social media again. And they were like, well, she hasn't done that since she's single. I was like, yeah, funny correlation. I haven't been confident since I was single because I gained weight and I didn't like how I looked. So when I started posting again, everybody was like, there's got to be something wrong in that relationship. It's like, no, 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 no. I'm just actually back to feeling myself now. Um, but yeah, it's like no more crying on the gym floor, no more getting so stressed. And I'm also like learning to ride the waves of the weight side of things. You know, sometimes it's going to be up, sometimes it's going to be down. But at the end of the day, my figure has changed so much that the scales are almost secondary now to like, how am I looking? How am I feeling? What am I fitting in that I didn't fit in before? Or even better, what am I having to buy because it doesn't fit anymore? So yeah, in a much better place.
Absolutely love that. And you know, something I just want to very quickly touch on, because there's the conscious changes that you see, and there's the subconscious changes that you don't see.
Yeah.
Just like clothes are fitting looser, I'm seeing the scales go down, but a lot of people forget about this subconscious one that you just forget about. It's the I didn't even remember that I used to not even want to put like see myself in the mirror. Or I didn't want to take photos, and now you're kind of taking photos, you're posting on social media without even realizing. But I think it's really important to recognize those, because in my eyes, that's how we know that you're really evolving and changing as a person. Because it's just
Yeah, I must admit, it's been different to not shy away from things now because I did for so long. And I'm so grateful that my wedding dress, my fitter remembered that because I completely blanked it out. And she was like, no, you didn't even want to look at it. And I was like, oh God, yeah, now I'm in it. And I'm like, this is my dress and I'm having a great day. And it's like, oh wow, that really has changed a lot.
I love that. And just to go back a second, like shying away from things and that confidence being down, was it having any other effect on you just in terms of day-to-day life or relationships or work or anything?
Yes and no. So I'm a very outgoing personality generally, so I don't drink. And a lot of people will be like, "Oh, I didn't know you didn't drink because you're out on the dance floor, you're doing whatever." I'm very, very good at hiding how I'm feeling. So, if I was larger, you know, I would wear appropriate clothing to dress my body, so perhaps I didn't look like I was, but there were definitely things I wasn't doing. So if I went to the spa, I would have been wearing a full like swimsuit with a robe over the top, and I wouldn't have wanted to be seen. I can't remember the last time I walked around my like house half naked or anything. It's always at least a long t-shirt and something on the bottoms. And it I just liked to hide myself, which is very at odds with my personality because I'm usually so like, right, let's get everything going, let's do everything, like life is great. And to suddenly be like, don't take pictures of me, actually, I really don't want to be involved in that. I tried to duck out of being a bridesmaid in my now sister-in-law's wedding because she was skinny, her friends are all skinny, they're all very cute and pretty and petite. And I was like, oh God, I don't want to do that. But I just started with you guys and my confidence was getting there. So I was like, I think I can do this. And I look back on the pictures and I was like, okay, I was in an all right place. And then I look at my wedding and I was like, okay, in like, what were they? August, September, October, November, December. So in 4 months' time, I was a completely different person. And I didn't even see that happen. It's just I realized on her wedding day I was still camera shy. On my wedding day, I was like, just take whatever picture you want from wherever you want. I don't care. I'm doing my thing. So yeah, it's weird that you don't. I think you don't realize how much it affects you until you're out of that headspace. I'm quite often saying to Adam, like, I wish I had more pictures of me fat. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I've got nothing to compare because I hid from every camera or any angle that would show you the true reality of it, which is why it's so funny, the picture that you shared on social media. I'd clearly taken that because I knew I was that. But did I want to share it? Absolutely not. Like, because it's horrific, but it's the only one I have of the reality of how my body was. Because every single one is posed, every single one's on an angle, every single one's like a selfie from up high. It's just, yeah, it's painful looking back now.
That I know how uncomfortable it is, and I'm so proud of you for saying it was okay. And I never would have posted that without your permission either. But the reason that I asked you was because I know that will relate to so many people with genuinely where they're at,
Yeah,
not where they
yeah.
think they're at, or
That
where
was the conversation
or
I
where
had with a lot of people. Because I was like, look, Simon wants to share this. What do we think? And it was a couple of my friends actually in the UK, and they were like, it's the reality back. You're not there now, so what's the harm in sharing it? It's like, because it's awful. They're like, but it's reality, and it's going to be reality for a lot of people. And I was like, oh, I know. And they were like, you have to own your story. And I was like, okay, fine. I was like, I'll let him share it. And then he shared it. And then I've had so many messages from people like, oh, I feel like I can do this now. Or, oh, I was going to have a call with Simon, but I wasn't sure. And now I am. And, you know, seeing what you've done is amazing. And like all the ones when you think you're annoying people by sharing your journey as well, that have messaged you going, actually, you've kept me motivated. You're the reason I'm still doing this. You know, it's such an inspiration to see it. And you're like, okay, yeah, actually, it is worth sharing this stuff, even if it's uncomfortable.
And I think the powerful thing, it literally gives me goosebumps thinking about it, knowing, like even my own finish line, knowing how much it helped me when I lost my weight, and you now know like what's on the other side of pushing through. It's one of the reasons I do share so much content. I do this, like if I share one piece of content that can help one person experience what I'm experiencing, it's so worth it in my
Yeah.
eyes, because you just know what's on the other side of it. And it's like you said, you don't know until you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's the frustrating thing. Now, what would you say has kind of been the biggest breakthrough, the biggest lesson, the biggest realization that you've had kind of throughout this journey?
That everybody starts somewhere. You'll see me say it all the time. Um, because even now, so I was just messaging one of the girls that has joined very recently, and she was anxious about going to the gym. And I said, look, everyone starts somewhere. I'm going to send you a video of me the first time I recorded my squats for L. So you can just see that literally we all started somewhere. And I sent that video and I was like, look, I'm still nowhere near perfect on these. Like I'm so far from it. But it's almost like every new week or every new program is a new starting point. And I struggled with that a lot at the start because I remember messaging you and going, I feel like a fish out of water. I suddenly knew what I was doing and now I know nothing again. But you know, it's that starting somewhere and just keep showing up. It's only going to get easier if you keep doing it. And if you're struggling, you've got this whole community. Like it's an amazing community to be a part of. So lean on them. But just remember that, you know, where you're at now is where someone wishes they were. Where you want to be is where you wish you were. And when you're there, you're still going to wish you're somewhere else. Like it's always a starting point. But it's trying to get comfortable with that fact, I think. And knowing that, yeah, you could have started sooner, but you started now. And that's the important part. So let's see what we can do from there.
So one of my favorite, as you know, I've got a quote for everything. One of my favorite quotes of all time is the man who loves walking will walk further than the man who loves the destination.
Yeah.
Okay. I think
it's the journey getting there.
Stay where your feet are, stay present and
Yeah.
enjoy that process, because the more steps you take, the more training sessions you do, the more days you hit your nutrition, the easier it becomes. And all of a sudden you look up and you go, I don't even realize how far I've come. That's one of the reasons I like say to people, like, please take these progress photos, even if they don't go anywhere. I don't see them. Just please take some for you to be able to look back, because you don't notice how much you're changing until you kind of take that reflection.
Yeah. Well, the girls will know I'm a massive advocate for that. I'm always in the group, like, take your damn pictures, because
Yeah.
looking back now, I'm like I said earlier in this call, I wish I had more photos to compare to. So I'm like, please, for the love of God, take your pictures, because you're going to give yourself such a boost if no one else. That it's so important. You know, we do them quite often at the girls' group meetups. I will always do the girls' pictures because it's like, have you done your pictures? No, like, come on, let's go into the changing room, strip down, let's get the pictures done. Yeah, essentially, because I'm like, you're going to want these so badly and you're not going to have them, because it is scary to get in front of the camera the first few months, but you got to do it.
Absolutely. And let's go training nutrition. What's been the biggest thing that's helped you when it comes to nutrition?
Oh my God, just watching what I eat. Like I said, if you had asked me before I joined, what do you eat? I would have been like, oh, I have breakfast, which is usually like Belvita or cereal. Then I'd have lunch, which is like a sandwich and a something. And then dinner is usually meat and veg, which it was. But everything in between, you know, that cheeky cake that you have at work, a couple of biscuits that you have in the afternoon, whatever you have for pudding, probably like ice cream or something in the evening. It's all those bits that you don't realize you're eating that you just reach for that have really amazed me. So it's like tracking my food. In fact, we got to one week where I was so frustrated that Eleanor said to me, I want to see a photo of everything that goes in your mouth for the next week. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, oh shit, yeah, I have been just having a sneaky biscuit here and there. And I was like, all of a sudden with the accountability, I was like, I'm not going to have that biscuit because I'm not going to send her a picture of me eating a biscuit. I was like, that's just not going to happen.
And then
But
weight went.
yeah, it did. I was like, okay, I'm starting to realize what I'm doing here. I'm not one for meal prepping. I wish I was. I'm just not. I've tried it so many times and it's not for me. But something you said actually that you often only eat like the same 5 meals, you just don't realize you do. And I was like, oh my God, yeah, I can live off that forever. So now my day is set. I have a protein shake every morning. I have chicken, pom bears, and yogurt at lunch. And then dinner leaves me open with like usually around 1,000 calories, have whatever I want. And even then, it's like, well, I usually do. I love veg. I usually just have meat and veg. It's like, okay, so I just need to stop snacking. But it's realizing that actually you probably are eating way more than you think you are if you're not tracking. That's the killer for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, that comes with like knowledge and awareness. Like I always say hidden calories are like the biggest killer. Liquid, so like Diet Cokes and things like that. Oils, sauces, a little snack and the nibble, maybe the kid bite the kids' food if you've got kids and stuff. And it might not seem like much, oh, it's only a bite. It's only a splash of olive oil, but that can easily add up to 5, 6, 700, 1,000 calories a day very, very, very easily. And when it comes to weight loss, you don't have a huge margin for error, unfortunately. Okay, unfortunately. So this accuracy really, really is important. But I think it was something really key that I picked up there that you said is you don't like meal prep. And that's fine. People think
Yeah.
on social media, you have to meal prep, you have to do this. When it comes to nutrition, there is literally a million, maybe not a million, but there is hundreds of
There's quite a few ways.
quite a few. There's hundreds of different ways that we can approach things. You can do habits, you can do meal plans, you can do calorie planning, calorie tracking, you can do intermittent fasting. There's all these different ways, and there is no one size fits all approach.
Yeah.
Finding what works for you, and then being able to build a plan around it. Okay.
Yeah.
What about
Yeah, it's definitely interesting.
Absolutely.
Oh, you were about to ask me about training. That's my favorite one. Go ahead.
No, I know the leg press queen.
I love the leg press. We're besties now.
How much is your leg press progressed?
So I used to only do the cable one because I was intimidated by the angle. Then again, everyone starts somewhere. I had it put in my program to do the angled leg press, and I was like, I have no idea how to use that machine. And historically, I would have left, but because I've been doing this for a while, and like we said, I began to be, the HBIC. I was like, I've got this. I went over and I asked someone significantly younger than me at the gym, can you show me how to use that machine, please? And he was like, of course. So we walked over, showed me how to use it, asked if I wanted him to stick with me for my first set and everything like that. It was like, oh, this was way easier than I thought it was going to be. And I think that's the key, right? With most of this, is it's much easier than you think it's going to be. But my leg press is now up to double my body weight again. I've just crept up to that. Don't get me wrong, it was a tough fight for that this week. But yeah, so that's been insane because that is something I never thought I would do. I was looking at maxing out the cable one. I was like, oh, I can do that. It's like 72 kg or something. And now we're up to like just shy of the 200s. So I'm like, yeah, okay.
I just had a look now. Your estimated 1 rep max. So the estimated amount that we reckon you could do literally for 1 rep is 225.7 kilos.
You do realize I'm now going to try and do that.
Please don't. Okay, give it a few, but we can do a testing week for sure to see like, hey,
yeah.
Can you?
No, 1 rep max is scared the living shit out of me. Yeah, I'm like, that's just, it's not sustainable. And what if you hurt yourself in the process? You're going right back to day one. No.
Outside of like, if you're a power lifter or something like that, there's no reason for you to do 1 rep maxes. We can do a testing week. It's really exciting and interesting. We just do like,
oh yeah, sounds it.
I like it. Just do 1 set of like as many reps as you can, and then we just do a calculation off of it, because doing like an actual 1 rep max is the risk and reward is just like there's all the risk and no reward. It's like, well done.
Yeah.
You nearly killed yourself in the process, basically.
Well, this is it. I was like, having just come back from only an injured elbow, I'm like, I am absolutely not going to risk my legs for anything.
Not worth it. What's been the biggest lesson you've learned when it comes to training?
Probably that you have to keep showing up. And it sounds really simple, but I shared this the other day in the group that if you don't feel like the gym, you don't feel like a session, just go and get on the treadmill. Once you're on the treadmill and you're at the gym, tell me you don't want to do your session now, because you will. And it's so easy. If you're anything like my support circle, you'll have people talking you out of it all the time. You don't need to go to the gym. You've already lost the weight. You know, oh, you're fine as you are, blah, blah, blah. You have to keep showing up for yourself and you need to find that in you. And once you do, it's only yourself that you're going to let down. And that's the bit that I've noticed. I'm like, I show up because I want to, because I want to be in the gym. It's now my happy place. And I actually said to someone the other day, God, I need to get a life. And he was like, you have a life. The gym's your hobby. That's okay. And I was like, oh, I never thought of it like that. Because so many people will try and talk you out of things because they're not there with you. They're not ready to face that, you know, they're unfit or unhealthy, or it wasn't as hard for them to get in shape, anything like that. Just keep showing up, just hold yourself accountable. If you can't hold yourself accountable, lean on the group. You know, I've missed a gym session. I felt really rubbish. Why did you miss a gym session? Oh, I didn't feel like I wanted to go. I didn't have the time. It's like, well, you've got to make the time, don't you? Because this is for you at the end of the day. Yeah, keep showing up is my biggest takeaway from all of this.
And that was my big thing. I always have like one thing that I like to push home with clients every year. And my big thing this year was you don't think or dream your way to being in shape. You act and behave. You turn up, take action. It doesn't matter if that's doing the best leg session that you've ever done in your life, or you turn up and you end up doing 30 minutes on the treadmill because you really don't fancy the weights, but you come back later that week and you still turned up and you still conditioned the habit and kept your promise to yourself. That's huge. I absolutely love this. And what's next for Bekka?
Pushing my body. I keep saying it to everybody. Last year was getting back on track. This year is figuring out what I can do. It's not going to be one rep maxes at all. It is going to be, it's going to be as strong as I can get. You know, I know there's so much more I can do. There's so much I have done already, but this year is going to probably be less weight loss, more strength gain. And that's really exciting because I'm like, once I can stop focusing on the scales and, you know, how do I look? How do I feel? How's this? How's that? I actually want to see what I can do this year, and that's really exciting. And you know, it's what I've got my other half bought into. I'm like, just so you know, this year is fully focused on what can I do, and like even to the point where our honeymoon, we're going on a cruise and it's got a full gym on it, and I'm like, you know, I'm going to the gym when we're on our honeymoon. He's like, yes, fine, I'll be in bed. I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm not falling out of this again. This is where we get serious. So that's what this year's for. And then after that, Lord knows.
Iron Man.
Maybe. No. Like I said, I'm more tinfoil lady than Iron
Man. The bit, you know, one I absolutely love about this is how, and this is like the number one thing that I think anyone, the journey they can go through in terms of getting maintenance, because nobody just wants to lose weight, everyone wants to keep weight off, is how your mindset is shifted from what I call shape goals, weight loss, and you weren't really even thinking about your performance, how strong you are, how fit you are, and how this is now shifted to I want to look, feel, and like perform really well. Because if you keep concentrating on that and you turn up, you train hard, the weight's going to look after itself.
Yeah, and that's the bit I'm looking forward to. I'm so anxious about the reverse diet, and I've said it to Elle a couple of times. I'm like, that absolutely puts the fear of God into me. So we are still working on weight loss at the moment, which is perfectly fine, but it's that weight loss alongside the strength gaining and everything like that, I feel like I've turned a corner, and it's super exciting now that I'm like, okay, I just get to have fun in the gym now. Like, one of my colleagues said to me the other day, no one actually likes going to the gym. I was like, I don't know what you're on about. I love going to the gym. And he was like, no, you don't. I was like, no, I do. I was like, and I think once you get to that point, nothing's stopping you anymore. You're not in your own head about it. No one can talk you out of it. You know, this is what I do. I go to the gym. I enjoy it. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to smash my workout, and that's it. And you know, that's what this year's mentality is. It's right, let's just get shit done, in the words of Simon. It's like, that's all we're doing. It's like, we're going in, we're doing our workouts.
I love it. It's so interesting you said about people don't like the gym. In my opinion, that's like, there's always this sticking point where it sucks a bit to begin with, but you just got to get through, because then it becomes more enjoyable when you start to see the progress, fitness, strength has improved, but also like do the exercises that you enjoy. If you don't like machines, do free weights. If you don't like free weights, do machines. If you don't like traditional kind of weightlifting, do some form of CrossFit. It's about finding what works for you. And that's why we're so big on like, hey, what do you like? What don't you like? There's some stuff we need to do as fundamentals, but trying to make sure that you do actually enjoy your workouts, because then you're going to stay consistent. I really appreciate your time, Bekka. And just one last question. What would you say to anyone who's what would you say to anyone who was in the same position as you before you wanted to reach out, when you were on the floor in the gym, when you went to the doctor? What would your message to that person be right now?
Oh, probably only you can make the change and only you can make the difference. You know, there is no magical switch. There's no one, there's no nothing. You can keep searching for a reason for how you are or the way you are, the shape you are, but that reason is going to be you. So I hate to be the bearer of bad news. You're the one that's got to make the changes. And also that you'll always wish you started yesterday. So start now. You know, I hate that I'll join you on Monday. I'll join the gym in January. I'm like, if you know you have a problem now, you're gonna have that problem on Monday. So let's just start it now. I think that's what was key for me. I was very keen on putting stuff off until this, until then. And I even tried it with you. And I was like, oh, well, you know, I've got the wedding coming up. I can't really afford it. And I'm like, but I can't afford to not start. So I need to get it done. So yeah, my ultimate advice is you probably are your problem, which is unfortunate, but it's also super great because it's something you can fix.
Love that. Mic drop. That's a mic drop.
Yeah.
If you ask. And then one last, I promise. What would you say to the person who was in your journey where you started saw a little bit of results, things have plateaued, you're getting a little bit frustrated, you're not sure if things are working, consistency's maybe started to drop a bit? What do you say to Bekka there?
Get back on track. You know, again, it's only you to blame. You know, if you're not tracking your food or you're not counting your calories or you're not going to the gym, or even worse, you're going to the gym, but you're not actually pushing yourself, which I found myself doing a couple of times. I'm like, oh, it's quite heavy, actually. I think that's probably heavy enough. It's like, well, no, because you're not going to improve if you don't keep pushing yourself. I think the thing that a lot of people struggle with is accountability. So who's going to hold you accountable? Only yourself, really. So can you go home at the end of the night, look yourself in the mirror and go, totally happy with how today went? You know, I smashed the gym and I smashed the food, but somehow I'm still not losing weight. Then you can reach out and be like, look, there's something wrong. But if you can't honestly look at yourself in the mirror and go, I did everything I could, then you're probably the problem, or we probably need to help get you back on track. Be that the girls in the group, the boys in the group, the coaches, or your family, or whoever. We're all here to support, but at the end of the day, you have to get yourself there.
I love that. I was just literally just pulled up the notes from our very first call. The goals: tone up and lose around 1 stone. Check. Get back to where you were. I think where you were and beyond. Check.
Beyond, yeah.
Get into a 12 easy, sometimes a 10.
12 now.
Check. Look forward to going to the gym 3 times a week. Check. And this goes without saying, be an inspiration. You truly are. You truly, truly.
Thanks.
You're so welcome. And honestly, thank you for putting your trust in us, and thank you for doing this podcast. I really just hope it can help inspire someone to take that first step and see the results that you have. So I really appreciate your time. So, yes, team. So thank you so much for listening. I will leave a link to Bekka's transformation on my Instagram page below. So please go and leave us some love in the comments if you've got any questions for her. I know she will happily ask them. I know her DMs are flooded with questions at the moment, so she's got a part-time job basically now, just answering DMs, I think. But have an amazing